Sean Crystal, Jazzy
Jimmahfood.
Jamie. What are we here for?
Jamie. Right now, we're here for Inkpulp Live, but we can't really start the show off just yet, Jim. You know why, right?
Yes, and I was whining like a little bitch before you hit record because the last couple episodes of our live streams, YouTube has been cutting off our hilarious intros that we
I
do
know.
when it goes up on YouTube. So I
Yeah.
suggested to you guys, why don't we start the show and then Sean and I are going to read off our grocery lists.
That sounds great.
Just
That
because
sounds
all of
perfect.
this is going to get cut off anyway.
Yep.
So for the first couple minutes, we'll kind of ease into the show. Danny Earls is here. He will be joining us in about 15 minutes.
Yes.
But
yes.
Sean, I got coffee and eggs.
Okay.
checked.
Okay. I've got nutmeg and cinnamon. Check.
Great. Okay.
Great. Jamie, are you joining our Thanksgiving festivities here?
Let me check. My list is just haggis. Haggis. wee bit more. I'm doubling down.
You're bringing the comedy. It's too early.
I try my best.
That's a throwback. That's a callback to a previous episode, guys. With
Wait.
Did I pronounce it haggis and you got upset at me?
Like Häagen-Dazs, like haggis. Haggis.
Yeah, haggis. Yeah.
Wait, what is Brandon talking about? The avocados? What is that?
Oh shit.
Do you know what that is?
I don't, but Brandon's the pun master. We have so many friends in the chat already. Brandon Graham is here. West Coast Avengers from Japan. Chris Pierce, Comic Tropes, is in the house. Michael Green, what up? Chris Berry, Steve Coffin, the whole gang. So a lot of people that are in the chat, I have art to show off from some of our friends here. Should we just kind of get into it? Can I show some?
Yeah, wait. Brandon just said it was a typo.
Oh yeah, okay.
Wait, you think we're in the safe zone now where we can officially start the show and bring the energy?
I think so.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Welcome to Inkpulp Live with your homies, jimmahfood, Jazzy, Jamie Wood, and Sean Crystal. Hi, everybody.
With Cool Keith.
Yeah, Jim's got the winning shirt. I've got the Mobius Surfer though. I got to get some props.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah, love this one. I love this.
Love it.
All right, so yeah, Jim, what do you want to kick off today with?
Can I annoy people with more glorious Savage Street Vigilante fan art and news?
It's never annoying. And yes, you should, because
let's do it.
Fan art, dude. Did you see Raz posted some fan art yesterday too?
We're gonna show it.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Let's do it.
I have to get up. I have to get everyone's names just so. Okay, so this is our boy Raz from Atlanta. He needs no introduction. His work is absolutely incredible.
Raz is in the gallery scene here in Atlanta. We do shows together and we kick it all the time too. So I thought this was dope. Thank you, Raz. You rocked it.
Dude, I love it. I
haven't seen this one.
This is nines.ill on Instagram. And
dude, I love that piece.
Shoot. This is Jock Nines is the artist name. And this is Rita from the Girl Scouts spray painting a Savage Street Vigilante.
I love that piece.
That's so awesome.
The whole vibe of that piece is so perfect. That's really great.
And you got Carl up in the left corner. It's really empty right here.
I see it.
Carl the cat makes a cameo. I love it. Fantastic, man.
That's great. Great stuff, people. Oh,
this is our old buddy Alejandro Fuentes with another just banger of a
third one he did.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, Alejandro, I got to give you mad props. Of course, your drawing is always beautiful, but your colors are just gorgeous. I love your color work.
It's amazing, man. And he is Los Focos, Fokos on Instagram. Give him a follow. His work is unbelievable.
Hey, Alex is in the room. He just said it's me. Alex, you rock. Thank you.
Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, man. Thank you for the incredible piece, dude. It's insane. This is my old buddy, Bill Hewitt, doing a 40-ounce comics tribute with old school characters like Zombie Kid, Rocket Boy, Smoke Dog. The Girl Scouts are there with their weed cookie boxes.
Dude, I haven't heard Zombie Kid in so long. That brings back memories.
This is like an OG tribute piece. He's also wearing the hieroglyphics T-shirt as well.
Which is great. Yeah, definitely greatness.
So awesome, man. This is Chris Berry with another banger.
Nice.
The next Defective Comics book for next year is going to be The Arachnid Enforcer. Already getting some pieces for this. Chris
That's
is
unbelievable.
It's so dope, dude. It's like,
dude, you know what I like? It's like there's like some Ninja Turtle elements creeping into the Spider-Man design. It's awesome.
I was just gonna say it's fused with TMNT, which is great.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Chris is absolutely incredible, and he is CB_comics on Instagram. So check out his work. And this is Adam Yojimbo on Instagram.
Nice.
Got the chainsaw, shirtless fury of the Savage Street Vigilante. Awesome colors.
Love it.
So badass.
Hell yeah.
And then, Jamie, did we have... Oh, shoot.
One more? Have I missed one?
There was one more from Lauren Marshall.
Yeah.
Marshall Arts.
Lauren rocked out on that piece.
It's like almost all red type piece.
Yeah. With one of the characters getting their head chainsawed in half.
Yes.
It is so good.
I've got it here.
All right, Jamie, you've got it there.
Jamie, don't let him do it.
One day you'll get that right, Sean. One day you'll get that right. What a day that'll be.
Hey, you gotta try. You gotta practice. There it is. Oh, that is so gorgeous. This is so
incredible.
Gorgeous.
So
that's hand painted too. That's what I gotta make sure people understand. That's not digital coloring, right?
Yeah, she did like process posts of this on her Instagram stories. So I was not aware of Lauren's work, so I just discovered her when she sent this to me. This is Lauren Marshall.
She's amazing.
Her IG is The Marshall Arts, and her stuff's awesome. This is badass.
And the paint she used was called The Blood of something, right?
Yes.
Did you see that post? It was like this really cool marketing where it was this red paint that was called The Blood of, I forget what, but yeah, Lauren is amazing.
Someone's saying she's an Aussie artist.
All right. Well, hello down under.
Chris, you did one, and we showed it in our previous episode, or 2 episodes ago. There it is.
Oh, hell yeah!
How did you have that already, Jamie?
Yeah, Jamie's just on it, man.
Good Lord. Okay. Chris, you get love twice on the show.
Yes.
And then I'll show a couple more things, and we'll
just keep going, Jim. Just keep going. Don't let him.
Okay. And then what else did I send you? We have merch, I believe. If people want Savage Street Vigilante Thug Society merch, brand new on my TeePublic, link in the description below. The shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, whatever you need. We got the badass Thug Society in full effect, people.
Pew, 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 pew.
Join our gang. Join our violence gang.
All right. Is it my turn, Jim?
I had 2 more.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Real quick.
Do you think?
I have an Arachnid Enforcer ad that I just finished this week that's going in Savage Street Vigilante. This is the dark one, and then there's the light one. Sean, you're saying you prefer the light one for the contrast.
Yeah, I think it creates more depth, and it's a little easier to read some of the elements. Like it separates the elements a little better, I feel like.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Opinion. That's my opinion.
Awesome. And next week is Maui Comic-Con, which I will be a guest at December 7th and 8th. Join me, Jim Rugg, Ed Piskor's family, Jim Lawson, Mark Baudet, Tula Latte. It's going to be just a damn good time.
Shit.
And
Tula,
Sean, I'm staying in Hawaii for 2 weeks. I'm just treating myself to an end of the year vacation because I've worked my ass off this year. So I'm just staying there.
You deserve this.
Thanks,
but
brother.
It doesn't mean I don't hate you for it.
Well, fly on out. Fly on out.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll be right there.
Dude, Inkpulp. Could you imagine Inkpulp live from the beaches of Maui?
Dude, that would be fucking
Does
amazing.
That mean I'm coming? Does that mean I get?
That means
you're coming. I'll tell you what. When I get down there, I'll convince Alika and his crew that's running all this. I'll convince them to bring us all back next year.
Fuck yeah.
So Maui 2025, bro. Hang loose, bro.
Hell yeah. Jamie, I'm gonna drive you crazy.
It's too much. It's too much. I tell you what, everybody in the chat, super chat Sean to not ever do his Scottish accent again.
Okay.
Super chat to
super
end.
Chat $5 and I won't do it, but super chat $20 and I'll do a hell of a lot of it.
Oh my god, he's out of control.
Oh, someone just said take the Inkpulp private jet. Yeah, that's a good idea, Steve. I'm down.
We got Ali. Ali is in the house. What up? What up, homie?
Oh, Ali, what up, brother? Sean, do it again. For you, Ali, I'll do it over and over.
If it was getting better, Sean, I wouldn't be annoyed, but it's just that is what it is. That is what it is, guys.
Well, it's not like you're offering me any constructive feedback on how to improve it.
I'm
so
speaking. That is my constructive feedback. I'm
trying, Jamie.
You should be learning by like osmosis. Is that
I'm
right?
learning.
Oh my god.
Do Shrek. I never saw Shrek. What does Shrek say?
How have you never seen Shrek?
Oh, dude, that movie looked terrible.
9-Panel Grid, thank you for the super chat. Chris, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. For Maui.
And since Chris is here, Chris and I recorded our next Trash Movie Bonanza, which will be going up soon. And we reviewed Madam Web. We broke our format and reviewed a brand new schlock movie. And the movie, I don't know if you've seen it, Sean. I had no intention of seeing it. And
I haven't.
It's next level, like terrible. It's something else. It's something to behold.
Is it actual schlock?
I'll put it this way. I would recommend if you're going to hang out with the family some night, like after Thanksgiving and get really stoned, you could put it on, drink a couple glasses of wine and you'll have fun with it. But
they actually put money into it, didn't they?
Yeah, it's a whole, I don't even want to get into it because we talked about it all day today. It's a whole thing. It's a whole fucking thing. I don't know. It's its own thing. So, do you have some shit to pimp for us?
I do. So everybody, or as they say in Scotland, everybody.
What? I've never pronounced that many syllables in the word everybody in my life. That was crazy. Oh man,
I'm gonna pass out.
Jamie, you have the power to silence his mic.
Oh my god,
I'm considering it. Oh my god, every day.
Luckily for you, I'm still getting over my flu. So if I laugh too hard, I'll go into a coughing fit and I'll pass out. Okay. So guys, I just got a box of my King Spawn the comics. I didn't realize they printed it on a nice hard cardstock.
Yes.
So what I have, guys, Jamie, if you'll pin the link in here, is I have a holiday pack. It's going to include a signed copy of the comic. It's going to include one of my awesome metallic sheen G-clay prints of the cover.
High quality.
And a mess of stickers. So that pack is a link right there Jamie put in the chat. And So you can go to my site. I'm only releasing 10 of them. They're $50 and get them before they're gone. The other thing I also want to mention is like we got Danny Earls on the show tonight. He's currently working on the Hulk. So I got the pencils for a Hulk I'm going to ink tonight, but you too can ink my pencils. They are on my WeTransfer. Jamie's got a link for us. I sent you in the chat, Jamie, in the WhatsApp chat. So, but it's also on my IG story and it's on my Twitter, so you guys can get it there. There it is, Sean's Pencils. Thank you guys. Looks like we got super chat from Maui. Aloha.
Chase.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll see you there, man. In like a week. It's crazy. I'm taking off.
Is it that soon?
I'm flying out a week from tomorrow.
Damn.
Like November's over, dude. Like this is crazy. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Do we have any lives scheduled during that time that we need to move around, or are
we're doing one a week from tonight with Chris Pierce, the G.I. Joe Ninja episode.
Next week, guys. Come back next week. But this is a great show. I think it's the night before Thanksgiving. I'm anticipating we'll get a lot of cool a lot of attendance going on tonight because people are just chilling, hopefully.
Yes. And Sean, I want to do a 1-minute comic book review.
Go for it. I'm going to move my camera. Yeah, I'm going to move my camera while we do that.
This is my big 1-minute review. Our homeboy, our extended family, John Wayshak, incredible artist. His issue of Violator came out last week. If you guys know Wayshak, you know he's one of the best drawers in the world, and his stuff is just ridiculously amazing. He is the new Sam Keith, fused with McFarlane, fused with all sorts of just wonderful, violent goodness. But this issue is just chock full of incredible visuals, and they've even got some gorgeous black and white. Let me bump up my.
Yeah, I will say, and this is coming from me. I think Jonathan might be the best inker out there right now.
Yeah, I mean,
are just incredible.
Ridiculous, man. And speaking of black and white, I'm a huge Chris Samnee fan. They did a noir edition of his new Batman and Robin book. And
I Chris noir edition. That's awesome.
Chris is just ridiculous, man. This guy is just, I love his work so much. It's just cartooning, storytelling, design, and understanding at another level of just competent cartooning.
That's comics right there. Yeah.
Gorgeous stuff. And then since Brandon Graham is here, Brandon and I finally scored a physical copy of Surviving on Mars. This is Brandon's really gorgeous, beautiful autobio comics collection. Stunning artwork, fantastic autobio, emotional, fun, hilarious, deep, thought-provoking, beautiful comics from our boy.
Yeah, Brandon's on another level. That book, I got to get that. That looks amazing.
We need to get Brandon on the show. We'll figure that out with him.
Definitely got to get Brandon on the show.
So, yeah, that's my little quick Jim's Comic Corner. And that's it.
All right, let's get busy drawing.
Let's
bring in our special guest.
How's it
Danny,
going, fellas?
the man.
Thanks a million for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. He's all made me feel like terrible businessmen, by the way. He's all doing prints and selling comics. I'm over here just like, I have none of that. I gotta get on all of that.
Dude, we're whores. We're whores.
No, thanks for having me, guys. I'm super excited to come on board.
Dude, thanks for being here with us. We know it's late for you, so we'll, it doesn't have to be super serious. We're just going to hang out, be casual, have fun, draw a little bit, and talk to you about your life and career, and also, Danny, find out how upset you are with me with my stupid promo that I did, accusing you of imprisoning a leprechaun.
That's the best you've ever seen, mate. Listen, I played football for 15 years, Jim. I've been called a lot worse, mate. So fair play, mate. Right. No, it was amazing, pal. It was amazing. Right. I loved it. I loved it. I'll try to change my camera here, guys, and face this down to the art. Yeah. I hope you can see it.
And I liked how all of Jim's Irish references were just American Irish references.
Oh, completely.
Yeah. House of Pain.
Yeah, so silly, so stupid, and but you know, we like to have fun, man. We like to, you know, not take things super seriously. So
that's like me, mate. That's like me. I prefer that. So I love it. It was brilliant.
When we saw you in New York, we ran into you like literally on the escalator leaving Artist Alley that one night.
Yeah.
It started with you. You kind of turned around and you made a comment about like a conversation I think we were having, and I knew who you were right away, and I thought it was awesome that you just started joking with us right away. Sean didn't know who you were, and then when you said goodbye, Matteo Scalera and I were like, "Oh, that was Danny Earls," and Sean was like, "Oh shit, what?" And then Sean made a point to like chase you down so that
That's so funny.
So that he could talk to you. You know?
It always feels like that. I've been watching your show for so long. It feels like you ever like listen to a podcast, you feel like you're on the outside of a conversation, and it's like it's like you feel like you know everybody, so you want to go up and say and start bantering like you guys do. But it's like, who is that guy? So I totally get it, Sean. I totally get it.
No, I mean the thing was, you and I had been talking online, so like I knew your work and I loved your work. I just didn't know your face, so I felt like, fuck, that was my chance to meet him because I love it.
I really appreciate it, mate. No, it was so good to see you at New York. It's good to see everyone there. For me, it's just like a deer in headlights when I go to New York Comic Con and just see all my favorite creators. It's like I try my best to stay at the table, but also to get out and see everyone as much as I can. Again, I'm a terrible businessman. I'm just out looking at people's art more than I'm trying to sell my own art.
Right, but I mean, you want to enjoy yourself and actually make, you know, that human connection with actual people. And how long have you been doing conventions, man? Like, are you do you do New York every year? Or
no, that's only my second time, Jim. I've only done 5 conventions, mate, in my life, and 3 of them have been Dublin. No, 2 of them have been Dublin, and then I done Top Bubble, actually London last year as well. Sorry, yeah. So I'm so new to it, mate. And like I said, when I go see, like when I see artists there, it's like it's just when I go to New York, it's like everyone that I've loved for a decade trying to break into comic books is all there. So for me, it's like, yeah, I want to talk to people about my artwork and I want to try to kind of like show people my art and sell my art, but it's a chance for me to go see people's work up close. Like even seeing yours and Sean's work up close, it's, as we kind of know as artists, it's so much different in person when you see it. So I just kind of take the chance to go see everyone I've adored for a decade. That's what I try to do, you know?
Oh yeah, that's a great thing to do. I think that's a really great thing to do. I love doing that too.
Yeah, and especially I've said it numerous times on this show, but I mean, a lot of people are only seeing our work at the size of their phone screen, you know, on social media and Instagram and stuff. So even if people can't afford to buy my originals or whatever, I love having people be able to at least see them in person at a convention, you know.
For sure.
It's a whole different experience, man, when you get to see it in person.
Yeah, it totally is. Even when I was saying, when I seen Sean, the cover he just showed there, the Spawn cover, it was like it's so much more vibrant in person than it is. And you would think kind of working with contrast and different kind of stuff online, be able to kind of get that. It just doesn't come across like that. And kind of even when people see my original stuff, I'm not great at actually kind of adjusting scale levels and stuff when I scan things in. So it kind of looks a little bit. I probably lose a lot of my washes when I scan it in. Some people see it up close. It's just different for them. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's better or whether it's worse, it's just different for people to see it up close, you know?
Oh, yeah. Sure. But I think that's there's, I don't know, maybe if I got if I got like a really nice photo table and a really high-end SLR and really learned photography, I could probably get my covers in reproduction closer to the original, but I think there's something nice about getting it to look good enough for print, and then the original just stands above it. That way the collectors really appreciate that, and I just think like we have to hold on to the act of like seeing original art and really like taking it in a new way. Like when we went and saw that Mignola exhibit, Jim, like that was a whole new way to experience Mike Mignola's work.
Yeah.
And I love that. I want to work to maintain that for sure.
Yeah. Dude, seeing that Mignola show in person, it really had a big impact on me. And I've always loved his work, but I've been like really looking at his work a lot more lately. And
Me too.
Mostly for design inspiration, like just the way he composes and understands just super solid design and guiding your eye along an image. He's a master of that. It goes without saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That I went to that exhibit as well. The thing that stood out to me, a couple of things did, but when I seen Kevin Nolan's, I'm obsessed with Kevin Nolan. When I seen his inks up close,
yes,
they were fascinating, and they also stunned me for how how could you even kind of word it? They're so thoughtful, but they're also a lot rougher than I thought they were. That's actually a compliment. I don't mean to say Kevin Nolan's inks are rough, but like they're not as pristine.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, they seem a lot looser maybe than I actually thought they might have been in real life.
Yeah, like I always thought they'd look a lot more like really precision made.
Yeah,
and see more of the human hand in it. That was really nice.
Yeah, that's what you kind of. I think his stuff. Well, I got his artist edition, the Marvel one, and it's like I would have kind of thought you'd make people feather and stuff. Like yourself, Sean, you kind of have like. Well, I listen to Richard Friend a lot. I watched his videos growing, kind of trying to break in a lot, you know. Yeah. And Richard used to always talk about like the distance in between his lines when he was inking and stuff. And I thought Kevin Nolan would have had a lot of that, but it seemed to be, like I said, a lot more freer than I thought it would have been. You know, maybe that was only that one piece, but I was actually shocked by it.
No, I've noticed that whenever I look at Kevin's work, I always take note of that. It's pretty wild.
So cool.
Danny, how long did you stay? Did you have a couple extra days to enjoy New York City and see the city?
Yeah, Jim, we went. My fiance came with me. We went over 2 days beforehand, and we stayed a day after as well. So, do you know what, mate? It's one of those ones. We got everything done on the Wednesday because I said to my fiance last time she came as well. And I was like, I am going to be absolutely knackered after this Comic-Con, so we need to get everything done on the couple of days before, you know. So the last day we stayed, we actually took a helicopter ride over Manhattan and stuff. So that was like one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life.
I saw that picture.
Yeah,
I did see that on social media.
And I'm not big on heights, so every city we go to, my fiance seems to bring me to the biggest building or do the maddest thing. So I'm just like, Jesus, can we not just go on the subway, go underground and not overground now?
Right.
But no, it was amazing. It was amazing.
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
Danny, let's talk about your career a little bit. So you're on the Hulk right now, and you're alternating arcs with Nick Klein. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah, good luck with that, by the way.
Right. Let's talk about that. How did that happen? And B, is that a behemoth of a anxiety attack to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, this whole year has been a whirlwind, Sean. To be fair, it's like getting to work on characters. If I genuinely sat down and thought about it, mate, I'd paralyze myself. I wouldn't be able to get up out of bed in the morning. So I just kind of got to put it out of my mind and crack on as best I can, you know. But getting on the Hulk, it was actually funny because it was me. I put out a tweet and it wasn't anything to do with this tweet, but like 6 months before that, and I said that it was my favorite book on the shelf, and I kind of tagged Philip and Nick in it, and me and Philip had a little chat back and forth. And it didn't stem from that, but then just before New York Comic Con 2 years, 2 years ago, the editor just emailed me and asked me would I like to come on board, and Philip was kind of a fan and stuff, and Jesus, I jumped at the chance, you know. So I didn't. Yeah. I don't think it was kind of maybe meant to go as long as it did, you know. But we kind of all just got along, and I was kind of so aware that it's Nick's book, Sean. You know what I mean? It's like he's such a monster. And I kind of came in with that attitude and just said, I just want to kind of uphold some sort of standard and not like I'm never going to beat Nick, be better than Nick, but I just want to try keep it going as best I can, you know. So we've kind of got on like a bit of a team, the whole lot of us. So it's been an amazing experience. But every time I turn in my inks and then Nick will turn his in his inks, so I just email you. I say, hey, can I get my inks back, please? And I can have another month. actually, can I have another 2 years, actually, please, so I can just get better.
Right.
Well, it isn't. I mean, I would be intimidated too, but I do also have to say, like, looking through your pages at New York, you are holding your own in a way that I think very few artists would be able to against what Nick is doing. Like, I think you guys are playing at an equal level, and there's just some subtle differences that makes it interesting. But I think you're killing it, man.
Yeah,
that means the world, pal. Genuinely, it's like just seeing him. I've learned a lot from him. He's the man. Nick is. He's very kind of he's not very, well, I don't want to say outgoing, but he's very reserved and stuff. But we've hit it off a little bit, and he's taught me so much this year, Sean. It's been insane. So to kind of be just associated with him in any way, it's amazing for me, and I'm learning so, especially in the styles we work. I'm learning so much from him, you know. So I really appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
That's cool to hear, though, about like your guys' sort of, you know, the vibe that you have going on between you. That's reassuring. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, and I was really adamant about kind of doing that from the start, Jim. It was one of those things where it's like I understand it's like an individual business and stuff, but like I'm not here to kind of like tread on anyone's toes, and I'd be foolish to try to do that with Nick anyway. And I just wanted to, do you know what, guys? I was kind of learned on my own in comics for 10 years. Just desperate for a mentor, so this is a chance for me to think, okay, can I try to learn something at least from Nick? And I just really kind of grabbed the bull by the horns and tried to learn as much as I could straight away, and let him know that I'm not here for anything other than just trying to make this book great for him and to learn from him, you know.
Oh yeah. So man, I mean, there's so much to talk about, but like, were you were always drawing then, even when you were playing professional soccer or football, I'm assuming. Do you prefer? You guys say football?
It doesn't matter, mate. Yeah, at this stage, I lived in America for that long, pal. I flip back and forth between them anyway.
I didn't want to get in trouble for saying.
Hey, if you didn't get in trouble for yesterday's video, mate, you're not going to get in trouble tonight. Don't worry.
I was just going to say. I've already offended you so much from our stupid jokes that now I'm treading lightly. Now that you're like actually on stream with us.
Yeah, exactly. Say it to my face.
Yeah. Next time you see me at a convention, you just push me down the escalator.
It'll be a lot different meeting than this year, mate. Exactly.
You're like, oh, hey, Yank, you think you're funny with your little jokes?
I've got the whole of Ireland behind me. Let's have it. Brilliant. But yeah, to answer your question, Jim, I started playing football when I was 16 professionally. I moved away from home and moved to England. That's kind of the way it happens over here. If you kind of have a chance to make it, you do move early into an academy and stuff. And then like pretty early, even from that, like if come 18, 19, definitely 19, if you don't have a chance of making the first team, you kind of got to move club and stuff. And funnily enough, I had an incident that happened in my life. My cousin that I was super close to had passed away when I was 17, and it hit me pretty hard, to be fair. And I didn't really deal with it, to be honest. And I thought I did, but then I ended up not really loving football anymore. And I just wanted an absolute change of scene. So I ended up moving to America, and that was like a new lease of life for me over there playing. And from then, kind of, I realized I wasn't going to make an absolute fortune. And I also love drawing comics. So if I had played in the Premiership, say, for 10 years, I wouldn't have had as much time to be able to do it, Jim. But I was able to dedicate pretty much all my time after training playing in America. So I kind of trained until 2 o'clock in the day, and then from 2 till pretty much 11 at night for near on as long as I played, 6 years. I kind of just drew and tried to just get better. And from the ground up, I knew no one and just tried to learn, what do I do? How do I go to conventions? What do I work on? What are portfolios? How many pages? Like just pretty much everything, like every comic book artist, but just kind of try to do it from the ground up, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the dedication to become a professional athlete and then a professional artist is insane. I mean, mastering 2 crafts to be able to do that is crazy.
I've just been fortunate, Sean. Like, you know, I kind of go through like so many people aren't lucky enough to find a passion in their life, and I've been fortunate enough to find two. So I kind of just wanted to, do you know what? I didn't achieve what I wanted to in football, so I was like, I'm trying my best not to let that happen in comic books. As in, I just love comic books so much. It's like, and you guys know a lot more than me. Like to do it, you got to put your life aside for a little bit anyway to break in, you know. And I don't complain about that. It's like I get to wake up and draw the Hulk every day. It's the coolest job in the world. It's the coolest life ever, you know. So I'm super fortunate about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so were you collecting as a kid?
Do you know, it was more so, Jim, when I moved to, I obviously love comic books, like the 1989 I was born in 1989, so I didn't watch it then, but the Batman animated series got me like into comics, and then I seen that film and stuff. And then over here you have like the Beanos and the Dandies. Have you guys ever heard of those comics? It's like
no.
It's kind of comic book strips. It's like what would it be similar to in America? I don't even know. It's comic book strips, so it's kind of 1-page comic books. And actually, Frank Quietly, his Superman is based off of a guy named Desperate Dan who's in those comics. So if you check that out later, it's the same build and stuff. Yeah, he talks about that. Yeah, and so those kind of comic books is what us in like Ireland and Britain kind of grow up on and stuff. So that's what I love.
Jamie, do you know about this stuff?
Yeah, huge. Those things are huge. That's like a real cultural thing over here. Like in Scotland, we have like Our Willie as well. I don't know if you get that, Danny.
No, I don't. Jamie, I must check that out, mate.
That's like a Scottish one that we get, and you would get like the Christmas annuals every year and stuff like that. So yeah, we get that.
Yeah, so it's a different kind. It's still comics and stuff, but it's a different way of. It's super cartooned. It would be. Do you know what? Not Calvin Hobbes wouldn't, because it's a lot more philosophical, but it's similar to Calvin Hobbes. It's just it's just short little strips, you know. So that's kind of what we grew up on over here. But then obviously, I always loved like actual comic books, and any chance I could get anywhere in a shop over here, I tried to get them. But moving to America really opened my eyes to. Do you know what? It's weird, guys. It was like I walked into a Barnes and Noble one day, and I seen the graphic novel section, and I was like, what is this? And I stayed there for 7 hours. I just sat on the floor and didn't buy a book. And then I worked backwards. I picked up Hush, and it just floored me. And it was like the best comic to pick up, and also the worst, because it was like, how do you draw like this? He's the best in the world. But I want to draw like this. So it was like, and then from there, I just kind of worked backwards through like illustration and trying to teach myself comic books. I kind of taught myself illustration rather than comics, and tried to kind of reverse engineer it. So I looked at all like the golden age illustrators and stuff, and then kind of tried to understand what comic book artists did using those kind of techniques. So I kind of reverse engineered it a little bit. I went a bit probably backwards about it, to be honest with you, but it worked hopefully anyway, a little bit anyway.
No, that sounds super smart to me, man. Because like I grew up just learning how to draw from comics, and then when I went to actual art school for college, all of my instructors saw that I was just looking at comics, and they were like, "Okay, listen, kid, we're gonna put the comics to the side for a while, and we're gonna actually teach you how to draw." So I thought they were, being arrogant assholes, but it turned out they were right in that taking actual figure drawing classes, learning how to draw from, live nude models, that changed the drawing game for me. But then I just took, all that knowledge and applied it to a comic book stylized sense of drawing, after the fact. So you really need to figure out for yourself, like how to fuse all these different things together.
Totally.
That's what I felt, Jim. Like I feel like anyone that can draw comics can sit down and kind of copy something. Like, and I was copying Hush and David Finch and all those kind of guys. And then I realized I couldn't draw. I was like, I could show someone a picture and be like, oh, that's cool, I copied it, but I didn't know what a tricep was doing or why it was doing it. I didn't know how like a pec fit into a shoulder. So I realized I was like, right, I got to stop fudging this and actually figure out how to do this. You know what I mean? And that kind of led me to the golden age of illustrators and learning from the ground up, and then understanding how they do things, and then looking at like a book like Hush, and you think how Jim Lee is a master of the form and anatomy. It's like it gives you a better appreciation of actually how he does it, and why he does things, I suppose, is the better reason of why to look at things, why he does it rather than kind of how he does it,
Oh, completely. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I you know, it's funny you said that. I noticed because I have this Inkpulp instruction thing I do where I have like instructional videos on comic art. I I, I follow a lot of people who teach art and comic art on social media, and I realize so few people cover the why. Like you
Right.
can cover the how all day and night, but if you don't cover the why, then the knowledge just isn't there. You're just copying someone else's techniques. If you understand the why, then you can apply it to your own way of doing things.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing in comic books, because the most important thing in comics is storytelling, right? So like if
Right.
it like instead of kind of the superfluous details on top that are amazing, it's like what. So I absolutely adore John Paul Leon, and that's kind of, I feel like he is an illustrator. Like he kind of drew like the old illustrators with like his and stuff, you know. So understanding, then that got me into storytelling, and then that when you find a love for storytelling, that just brings you down an avenue where it's like, oh my god, it's kind of endless, and then you kind of just get into the apps. Then I just kind of started to fall in love so much more with comics, and understanding why they work, and what like how to make them work, and what angles to choose, and why to choose them and stuff. So that's just like, I suppose when you kind of get somewhat of a competent draftsman, not saying I am, but then when the fun part is actually picking shots and understanding why to use them and how to use them and tell a better story, you know.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah. It's interesting, man, because hearing you talk about when you started and got in, I'm a little jealous in a way, because like you were smart enough to figure out this sort of path where when Sean and I got in and we're trying, it was like still early 90s, mid 90s. And like the main goal was still draw badass pictures.
Yeah,
The emphasis on good storytelling had sort of gone away for a while because of the trend of image comics, late 80s, early 90s drawing comics culture. That's just where things were at. And so when I was really, really trying to break in and had, you know, I even had like just a separate inking portfolio, and I was trying to figure out my path. Good storytelling wasn't at the top of my list, which sounds crazy to say, but it was just, no, make badass drawings, make badass images. That was like the imagery, priority.
Yeah.
And
all about imagery.
You know, it was a different time, man. It was just a different way of, so I feel like I kind of had to like really spend several years catching up and learning things I should have learned much earlier. You know,
do you know what though, Jim? On the reverse side of that, I actually think I actually had to learn then the other thing, because I was so focused on storytelling and making it. I remember reading a book with Will Eisner and Frank Miller, and it's called In Conversation. The two of them just talk about
the book. Yeah,
it's amazing. And they talk about like Will Eisner eventually, through all of his work, went back to just like kind of a normal straight on camera shot, because he says in theater that's the best way to tell a story. So I was like, I was so focused on this is the best way to do things. But then what actually happened to me was I actually sacrificed. At the same time, comics are just fucking cool. You want to have cool images as well. So I sacrificed just coolness, and I kind of had to reverse engineer then to go back to sometimes in the Hulk, just being like, fuck me, the Hulk's cool. I want to just draw a cool image, you know? So I probably, in what you're saying about the storytelling, I probably wish that I had a bit more of that from you, from the 90s, to be like, just draw a cool, bombastic image. So I had to meld them both. So we're kind of singing from the same hymn sheet, but just on different sides of it, if that makes sense.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, it
does.
Yeah. And to be fair, like I was in the same boat as Jim, and I got too focused on imagery. And then when I went to grad school, I really got hyper focused on storytelling over everything. And then I kind of was like, well, now my shit doesn't have the like cool in your face, like balls to the wall fun of a superhero comic. So I had to like learn to bring that back with that new sensibility.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, Sean. On my first couple issues of the Hulk, I feel like I'm always trying to just improve. I'd send Nick my pages, and he'd give me great feedback and stuff, and try to get better and stuff. But my first 3 issues, there's a lot of fight scenes in it, but there's no real bombastic images. And in the last kind of 4 or 5, I'm like, I got to really punch this up now and make the Hulk like Marvel, make him come at the camera, have the fight scene like explosive in your face and stuff, rather than I was so focused on framing things and making it like kind of beating the reader over the head with it, where it's like, Jesus, sometimes it just happens naturally. The reader will follow the story and have a cooler image, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's a dance. It's a
Sorry.
dance. What's up? No, go ahead, Jamie.
We just got a $5 super chat from Chris Pierce, saying, when there's time, can Danny talk about Frank Miller's lines at New York Comic Con? He tabled right next to Danny.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, don't we? That is when you talk about like a machine running. That was like the whole morning they get in. I think he got in at like half 10 or something like that. But from like 8:30, like everyone was like getting ready, getting prepped. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like you went there to take photos and stuff. Like literally, Frank came in and like the pen would hit the page for 3 seconds, and then it would be next person. It's like it was the maddest thing I've ever seen, including football, in my life. It was just in, out. It was but it was so well run as well. Like, you know, it was so cool, and he was so nice. I was fortunate enough to meet him as well, and he was just so cool. Like, he is everyone's idol, right? So it was like I had to draw a Batman commission that morning, and I was like fucking freaking out. I was like, I gotta get this done before Frank Miller gets here. Yeah. He can't see my Batman. I gotta get out of here.
That's funny, man.
But it was insane. It was so cool.
Yeah, I remember I stopped by to look at your pages right before Frank got there to set up.
Right. Yeah.
And then as I was there, he showed up and you got to take a picture with him.
Yeah, that was just, it was so cool. I mean, that I kind of, do you know, like when, like in football, it was like I met some of my idols and stuff, and you try to play a little bit cool, but I have done none of that in comic books. I've been the exact opposite. I've been like the biggest fanboy. Every time I meet someone, I'm like, fuck me, I love you. I'm like, can I get a picture? Awesome. And like Todd McFarlane come over to the table, and I was like, Todd, I'm supposed to like play cool, but I fucking love you, mate. I was like, can I get a picture with you? And he lapped it up. He was buzzing. He was like, he was so funny. The editor in chief. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Rory McConville, the Irish guy that writes Spawn. He was saying Todd I was saying, oh yeah, Todd doesn't have to Artist Alley because you'll get swamped and like inundated, and Rory was like, he's like, he'd love that. That's why he comes down here. He wants people to come up here and tell him that they love him. So it was funny.
That's awesome.
It was so cool. It was so cool to meet him.
I think it's okay to fanboy out in front of comic creators, because I think most people spend the bulk of their time alone. So when you're at a convention, I think it's okay just to let people know that you love them. You know, I agree. It's a isolated lifestyle for the most part. So it
for sure.
You know, I appreciate when people let me know that they enjoy my work and they're getting something out of it in person, as opposed to
totally.
You know, internet comments, social media comments are great and all, but there's nothing like a real human face to face with you, letting you know that they, you know, enjoy what you're doing. And it's a real connection. It's a real moment, you know.
For sure, Jim. And I just like, for me, this is weird. It's like if I went into my house and I'd say like I love Greg Capullo, and be like, I love Greg Capullo. Who is that? But like for me, he is like all these kind of artists that I've adored growing up. It's like these are my idols. It's like if like say take the most famous person in the world, if David Beckham or Greg Capullo was, I'd be like, Greg, that's Greg Capullo. Do you know what I mean? It's like me getting to see these people. Like I don't hold back on that. It's like I am so just kind of giddy and happy to be in comics. I can't believe it most of the time. So I'm just like, fuck, these lads I've adored for so long. So it's like I might make them feel a bit weird, but I won't hold back on it.
Yes, yeah. I think that's okay, man. That's
I think
it's cool. It's, you know, and I mean, shit, you get over here how often? Once or twice a year, maybe, just for conventions, or
that was I went to Baltimore and New York this year, Jim. That was it. Yeah, just the two of them. So pretty much it'd only be once or twice a year. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Did you enjoy Baltimore?
Yeah, I loved it. It was so comic kind of centered. You know what I mean? It was like Top Bubble over here is similar to that. It's just editors and writers and artists, and over here that's what over in Baltimore, that's what it felt like. It was such a cool show.
That's great. Yeah, I haven't been there in a while, but Sean and I are trying to get there next year, possibly.
Yeah, definitely.
It was amazing. Yeah, I got to meet Philip and stuff as well. Like, it's nice to kind of meet the people you're working with as well. And Philip Johnson doesn't live too far away from there, so it's cool to kind of meet up with him and chat some Hulk and that, you know.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's the writer.
Yeah, he's a writer. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was an amazing show. Amazing.
That's great, man. And also, man, I definitely wanted to talk to you about those insane TMNT panoramic covers you've been working on. Did you have the originals of those in New York?
Yes, I did, Jim. Yeah, that was. Do you know what? Like going back to, I'm trying my best not to sound like just a comics fanboy, but like it's hard for me also not to sound like that because I just love all this stuff, you know. So to get, I think everyone loves the Turtles, right? But like I grew up on them as well. So like I've got 4 brothers, and like we all call each other the Turtles. I was Raphael, if anyone's asking, but but we all kind of grew up on that. So to get that gig was just like, oh my god, it was the coolest thing ever. And I kind of just treated it, Jim, as me, if I only had one shot to do this, how would I do it? And I love drawing cities and I adore New York, so I kind of turned it into the editor. And they wanted connecting covers, and I gave a couple options, but they picked that one. So it was perfect for me. It was just such a cool kind of gig to have. And I done them over the space of 4 months. It was like it was a cover a month because in between the Hulk and stuff, but it was just such an amazing opportunity to work on that book and on those covers, you know.
So great, man. I mean,
those are awesome. I saw them, Jim. I saw them in his portfolio when I went to see Danny in New York.
I regret not going over to actually see them in person. But dude, I think it's admirable that like most artists avoid doing architecture and buildings for the most part, and you specifically went out of your way to like show off the city, show off the environment and the scale of everything, and you know how all this fits together, and it was just something like pretty mind-blowing to see it all put together.
No, that means a lot coming from you.
Very impressive, man.
Thanks a million, pal. It was. I always just think like, I know it's cheesy, but like the city's a character, and so people say that. But you know what it is actually, Jim. Growing up, me figure work was, as everyone's figure work isn't great getting into comic books. Well, I'm not speaking for everyone. Like get Joe Mad and stuff who are just kind of freaks out right off the bat, right? But like I always hid bad figure work like years ago with buildings and architecture and stuff. I don't know why. I just kind of had a tendency to do it. And then breaking into comics, I was like, oh, I love seeing not necessarily detailed comics. I love, like, my kind of thing I try to capture is atmosphere and stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be detailed. I'm not really fussed on detail. It's just like, how can this feel? How does someone feel looking at it? Does it feel like New York rather than does it look like it? So I kind of just try to add that in. Right. So I've tried to kind of, hopefully me figures are like somewhat better now and I can add them into it. So I just kind of try to keep that city kind of thing going, you know, and every kind of, even in the Hulk, I got to draw like this 2,000-year-old like city. It's like Babylon. It's like, it's so cool to be able to kind of think of those things in your head and just like, how could you think that up and kind of make it cool and look somewhat lived in, you know?
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's the trick too, is making it what you just said, like making it look lived in, and it actually, all this stuff functions, you know, it's real in that universe. You know, I'm a huge Kirby fan, and all of his crazy tech that he created. It's like, it's not realistic, but it's realistic for the world that Kirby set up for it to be in, you know.
Exactly. I have a fascination with like it. I think you call it like retro futurism. So it's like, what would the future look like according to the 1960s, and all that kind of like Kirby tech fits into that. It's like, it's so cool. You could definitely see people like, it doesn't have to be this world, but you see people kind of living in that world, you know. I'm also fascinated with like Star Wars and stuff. Like Star Wars was the first film to pretty much make sci-fi look lived in, and I had dings on the helmet and everything didn't look smooth and sleek and stuff. So I was like, that's kind of like it. One of my good friends, Raphael Labosco, drew a James Bond comic recently, and it's all kind of clean suits and guns and cars, and he done an amazing job. But I was like, fuck, man, I think that'd be a tough book to draw, because I like to put textures and everything. So like making James Bond's suit look all dirty would be a tough one, you know. He has to be really smooth and sleek.
Yeah. Because the first sci-fi I discovered as a kid was Star Wars. So when I saw Star Trek, it looked too clean and pretty for me, because I was used to that lived-in world that Star Wars had established, you know, and Star Trek just kind of looked, and also Star Trek didn't have the action that Star Wars did. So to me, Star Trek was like this more, as a kid, I thought it was, just too clean and boring. I like it now. I enjoy it now for what it is. But I feel like if you discover Star Wars first, Star Trek is sort of doesn't quite,
yeah, for sure.
hold up to that level of adventure or whatever.
Exactly. I always I love Blade Runner, and it was like I'm a bit of a I like horror and stuff. Like I adore horror; it's my favorite kind of genre. So like I'm like I want to live in that future. I want to live in Blade Runner future, not like something like Oblivion, or something. Yeah, I want to like not clean and sleek and cool.
Oh,
the way we're living now, like that Blade Runner where it's dirty and gringy and it's like the tech looks like it has buttons. I love buttons and being tactile, So like everything now is all sleek and clean. It's like I prefer that kind of world. So anything kind of like that has any bit of texture or like kind of a bit of like roughness to it, I love.
Yeah, I feel you, man. There's something analog and beautiful about that look in like late 70s, early 80s sci-fi adventure, and but yeah, man, I'm a huge horror fan as well. So are you guys still, speaking of horror, are you still doing Hulk versus basically monsters as the theme of the ongoing issues?
Yeah, pretty much. Jim, Philip kind of started out. He wanted to just have Hulk like almost like a Richard Corbin comic, like just like the Crooked Man, like where it's just like American backwoods, just like can he come up against these creatures, and obviously he's had like I drew in Kidu. He's like the first ancient Hulk, so we went back in time and stuff. But it's still against these big monsters that he just fights, So he kind of he's given him a great storytelling device where one of the characters can change into these different monsters and fight against them. So like it's kind of any place he is, he can kind of conjure up these monsters. But my last issue, I just got to draw like these skinwalkers and werewolves, and that's I got to draw Werewolf by Night actually as well. So that is just like so up my alley. It's like not even funny,
That's
like,
great.
just creepy trees and forests and woods and just playing with shadows. Like the more black you put on the page, the cooler it looks. It's a bit easier as well to draw.
Yeah. That's again going back to sort of the Mignola thing. Like I'm big on this like real super high contrast look with all the stuff I'm doing right now. It's just fun to play with those shapes, and it's almost elementary when you think about it, where it's like, well, if you just set everything against a black background and you know how to make things pop out where they should, pretty much is a no-brainer on how to use this to guide the viewer's eye.
Yeah, definitely. That's something you see up close with Mignola. It's like, that is the thing that fascinated me the most. It was like my fiance came with me and I'm just boring her to tears. I'm like, come over and see this one. I want to explain to you what he's doing here. And she's like, oh my God, will you leave me alone? Right. But it's like, but like every little, like, if he draws a hand, like 70% of the hand is black, but the perfect angle of the knuckle pops out to make it look like it's not hitting the light is hitting it. It's like, oh my God. It like to someone that is not kind of in comic books might, that's a simpler style than say like a Jim Lee or someone, but it's like it's so educated and perfectly done. The decisions are just flawless on all these pieces. It was just fascinating to see,
Yes. Yeah, man. All artists appreciate Mignola. I mean, I know the general public does as well, but he does, he does get that moniker of like the ultimate artist because I don't know a single artist that badmouths his work, really.
Of course.
How could you?
Exactly. And are you a fan of Toth as well, Jim? Do you like Alex Toth?
Oh yeah.
I know it's funny because people always like listen to Mignola's interviews. He says he was influenced by Frank Frazetta and not Alex Toth, but then he can see the resemblance and why it is that as well,
Yes. Yeah. I understand with Mignola in regards to Frazetta, it's like the design sense and those there's those typical like there's like 5 or 6 different cover design patterns that Frank would use for a lot of the things he did, and those all work every single time. And it's interesting to see someone like Mignola. He sort of translated that language into comics covers and comics work.
Totally.
Definitely. I have a Frank Frazetta sketchbook. It's like a big hardback one. All his little sketch designs and stuff, you can see Mignola in it so much, rather than his paintings almost, because it's contrast, it's black and white contrast. But like, even the way I'm fascinated by the way people kind of convey weight in a character, like the way Buscema and stuff, like how we separated legs and how we put weight on one side of the body towards the other. But you can see Mignola when Frazetta blacks out at the back leg, and it's perfectly done with a perfect highlight hitting it. You can see Mignola took some things from that. Obviously, made it his own, but you can see more in a sketchbook rather than paintings where it's really kind of influenced by it. You know?
Oh yeah. I love being able to dissect stuff like that and understand what people are doing, because as a kid, all of this was just such a mystery to me, like how to even do any of this stuff. So it's amazing where we're at now, where we have internet research, YouTube shows where people are literally drawing like we're doing right now, I guess. And there's this sort of wealth of knowledge of that, like, has broken the mystery out of
absolutely
how this is done, and I'm always thankful for that, when I think
me
about
too.
it.
I mean, that's what the whole keep craft alive is about, passing that knowledge.
But that's like,
yes,
to give you as absolute credit, lads, that's like what you are doing is now, it's so valuable. Like saying like self-taught, I'm quote unquote self-taught, but I'm not, because I went to artists for advice and I looked at videos and stuff. But like, to have the resources that you give for free to people, it's like, it is so amazing. Like, genuinely, I'm not just saying it's on the show. I talk to my friends about you all the time. It's like, podcast, the information you give willingly, freely. It's like, that's how lucky enough I was able to kind of learn from people like you to just give information. Like, do you know what I mean? It's so valuable.
Yeah.
That, like, I think you know, but I hope you know how important you are.
Well, thank you for saying that. I do
thank you,
that.
man.
But
that's
I
awesome.
mean, the thought is this: like, you say you're not really self-taught because you learn from other artists. No one is self-taught. Like,
yes,
we all are standing on the shoulders of what the artists before us discovered. So that knowledge that came before us is what allows us to do what we're doing. So
exactly, Sean,
because we have this internet now and the social media, it's a perfect opportunity to like capture all that and like put it on video and like hopefully it just lives on YouTube forever, so young artists can keep discovering it, and then they can, as they grow up, do the same thing, and we'll just have this amazing like archive of great comic stuff. I mean, when Jim and I were coming up, like, it just didn't exist, and you were lucky to be able to ask Mike Mignola a question, and now you can we can do something like this and have Danny on, and then someone can watch it, and there it is.
No,
yes, we can draw at the same. I was just going to say, we can draw at the same time with someone in a different country.
Right?
It's insane, isn't it?
If you would have told me that when I was like a 15-year-old kid in my room alone trying to figure out, like, how am I going to break into comics when I get older, like that is a mind-blowing idea. Like, well, not only will you break in, but there will be technology where you can, project what you're doing all over the globe to people in something they call a live stream. It's a wild idea. The future is here, and
it's so true.
Danny, I did want to thank you for saying the complimentary things about what we're doing with our show. However, I do want to confess that we do give this wonderful knowledge and skills to people for free, but then we shamelessly beg people for their money to support our Kickstarters, our projects. But you know what? Like, everyone is so damn cool here and in our community that if they want to support, we greatly appreciate it. If they don't, and they can only do a $5 super chat, or they can only just say a complimentary thing like, you guys are great, thank you, that's fine too. So it's there's multiple levels of like what's going on here. It's just everyone being on the same sort of wavelength of, we love this shit, and that's what it boils down to.
Absolutely.
Like, we love this shit.
But listen, like giving free information to like it's. Of course, people are going to pay for it then because it's like more in-depth knowledge. But when I was coming up, it was like, do I have to go to school and pay 100,000 or give Jim and Sean $10 for a video online? Do you know what I mean? It's like
right.
It's, and that's it
exactly, and that's the other thing is like art school it's criminal. It's just criminal. So if we can all make little videos and sell them for $10, we can really offer like knowledge, and people can learn just from watching that shit. Not have to. I mean, to come into comic books with a $400,000 art school debt, it's just setting you up for failure in life. Like, there's no way you're going to pay that back in comics.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And I kind of have a little bit of I'm like, when I say uneducated, I left school when I was 16. So I couldn't get a job anywhere else. So like, this is super important to me, not only because I absolutely love it, but it's literally what I have, you know? So it's like, I try to work as hard as I can every day to make sure it's there to stay, you know?
I think that's essential. I think that's essential to make it. Like, Jim, would you agree? Like, this is it. Like, you've got this is what you're doing, and you've got no backup plan.
Oh yeah. I have no other real skills, Sean.
Right. That's
you know, and also, man, all my other interests and the stuff that I'm super knowledgeable about is basically worthless in the real world, because I know a shitload about like movies, B movies especially, and like music. I have an in-depth knowledge of music. So unless I was going to become like some sort of like music professor or an archivist at a record label or something, I don't even know. I don't know what I would do with the knowledge that I have.
Archivist.
Yes.
That's like it, but to be fair, an actual true story. Like, when I was about 5 years ago, I came home from playing football, and my sister runs a gym, and I was kind of managing it for her and stuff, and trying to draw as well, like just you have to keep the bills paid, right? So, but I actually tried to get a job in my small hometown where everybody knows me, in like an arts and crafts store and a sports store, like where they just sell sports clothes, and I couldn't get them. They were like, "Oh no, we can't even entertain you if you don't have it's got your leaving cert over here if you don't have your leaving cert." And I came home, and I was literally like, I always wanted to break into comic books, but I was like trying to get that to kind of subsidize just living until then, you know. But it was like, fuck. So that's where like it is not to sound cheesy or corny, but like when I wake up every day, it's like, if you don't hit this hammer and tongs, you've got nothing else. You're going to be on the street. Right. So although you love it, which is great to love something, but you better fucking work as hard as you humanly can, because there's nothing else out there, you know.
But that also explains why you're getting so good so fast, and you're killing it on the Hulk. Like, you've got that. Yeah. That, John. What was before the Hulk, Danny?
Just kind of like all the kind of ways people would break in, Sean, with little 10-page stories and stuff. I done like the Punisher. I done a Venom story. Okay. I done the Alien Annual. The Alien Annual was right before the Hulk. After that, I got the Hulk pretty much right after the Alien Annual was like 30 pages, and I done it with Declan Shelby wrote it.
I was just going to ask, did Declan write that one?
Nice.
Yeah, he wrote. It was a silent issue actually, so he wrote it, but he did. There was no dialogue in it, so it was funny. He was like, the easiest job we ever had. That's what he said.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I love
it. He still gets the full page rate for
of course.
It was funny. He got me on a call one time. There's a big double page spread on like the third and fourth page, and I opened the script, and I'm like, oh God, I'm taking on my notes, being real professional. I'm like, I got to listen to what Deck says and make sure it's perfect. And on the double page spread, it just says, "Have fun." he's like, I got paid for that.
Hey, I like that. That's awesome.
I love it. There was a little bit of like explanation there. Obviously, he texted me, just said, "Yeah, have fun with that." It's so cool.
That's great. Awesome. And then, man, did you do the thing where you traveled to conventions and showed or tried to meet editors, in person and show samples, or was that like that's sort of a older way that like Sean and I had to kind of go through that, like actually waiting in the lines at conventions? Like, did you deal with any of that shit, or was that already not happening?
No, I did, Jim. Yeah, I went. Okay. I started going to conventions about 8 years ago, mate. Yeah, but
okay.
The first one I actually made, I'm lucky though, because I made some super connections at the early conventions I went. I met Lieber Mayho at one of the first conventions in Top Bubble, and also Will Dennis. Will Dennis is like he was amazing because he was one of the guys you had to stand in line for, and he was super supportive of my portfolio. And I met Lieber Mayho 8 years ago. It was quite funny, right? And I tried to do my very best when I was breaking in to not like hammer people when I meet them. So like I'm not trying to get anything from them. I want to kind of cultivate a relationship. I'd rather have some sort of working relationship rather than try to get anything from someone. So I didn't write to Lee for ages. But when he looked at for the last 3 years, I've sent Lee, like when I made kind of decent significant jumps in my work, I sent Lee my work like 4 or 5 times, and James Harron also, and they picked out
James. Yeah,
like James's storytelling just brought me on leaps and bounds, and Lee gave me like just not too much information, but just perfect bits every time I sent him something back that just made me kind of exponentially get better, even in my own work. So like that's when I said I'm not self-taught. Having these guys was just amazing. But Lee said at Top Bubble, he looked at my pages, it was Judge Dredd pages, and he was like, yeah, when I was around here, I was around 7 years away from getting in, and I mean it. That's not like just some kind of weird cool story, but pretty much to the button, it was 7 years. But I went away from that show thinking, oh my god, fuck me, Lieber Mayho thinks I can draw comics. I didn't come away thinking I'm 7 years away. I was like, he thinks I can draw comics. I'm gonna work for 7 years and break into comics, you know. So I was like, it was so. I came home with that. I was like, it was so cool. I came home with my mom and dad and that, and I was like, the best artist ever thinks I can draw comics. This is so cool. And they were like, 7 years, son. They're like, Jesus, don't you want to think about doing something else now?
yeah. Oh man,
sorry, Jim.
Oh, go ahead.
I just
go
wanted
ahead.
To shout out, we got a $10 super chat from Ron Detch or Deck saying,
Ron Deck. What's up, Ron?
Saying greetings all. Special shout out to the man Danny Earls. That's it.
No, Ron's the man.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Danny, I was just going to say, like, when you try and explain to real world people, like anything relating to breaking into comics, like when I had to explain to my mom and dad, you know, what I wanted to do, because they knew that I was a comic book fanatic from the time I was a little kid, and they took me to the comic shop and they supported, you know, what I wanted to do, but they were just like, listen, we don't know anything about this industry, or we don't know how we can help you other than just encouraging you. But, you know, when I would tell them stories that I had read in like Wizard magazine or something, I was like, it was the early 90s, and I'd be like, Mom and Dad, like Jim Lee, he's rich from drawing the X-Men. And, you know, it's like, I read in an interview that he draws 14 hours a day, and I'm going to do the same thing and become rich. And they're like, okay, son, sure. Like, who's Jim Lee? We don't know what any of this gobbledygook you're talking about is about. But they're funny. Like, if you know, continue to show this level of passion about it, then we'll try and, you know, help you and figure out like, well, what's the next steps of making this a reality. And for me, it was like, I just got lucky and wound up getting to go out of state to art school. And I got like a small partial scholarship, but I was also in a rare position where like my last final grandparent, my grandmother passed away and was so big on education. She left in her will college tuition money for all of her grandchildren.
No way.
So I was able to go to 4 years of art school paid by my grandma, basically.
Wow,
like no student loans, no. And she didn't live to see it, obviously. So it was just one of those beautiful moments of like, she helped make this happen for me. You know,
that's amazing. That's such a cool story, Jim. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, slightly. Oh, and Danny, here's where our connection comes in. My mother's side is 95% Irish.
Oh, really?
So my grandmother was Rose O'Cunningham.
Okay. Do you know whereabouts they're from over here?
I do not. I do not. But,
you should definitely come over and try see where they're from, Jim. That'd be amazing.
I want to get over there really bad at some point, and it's funny because my mom wound up meeting this, very shady, dark Middle Eastern man, and that's who she wound up marrying.
The exact opposite to an Irish man, just pale and see-through.
Yes, she grew up in like an all Irish Catholic neighborhood in South St. Louis, and then wound up meeting this,
Jim,
shady...
we have a similar origin story. I don't know if you knew that.
I know this, and
my grandfather,
her family was like, we think this guy might be a terrorist. We don't know.
A great grandfather of mine was getting out of Europe and getting to the States, and on his travels he got stuck in Ireland for a little while and fell in love with this Irish lady named Sarah O'Hara, and her family forbid her to be with a Jewish man, so she ran off to the States with him. And
no way.
Yeah. That's why I have Sean as my first name.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, man.
My mom and dad's stories ain't as cool as yours, guys. They lived like 10 minutes away, and that was it, pretty much.
That's awesome.
That's pretty much every Irish person.
It's the same here, Danny. Same here.
Yeah, exactly, Jeremy.
Danny, where is your can you say what town you guys are from? Or
of course, Wicklow town, mate. It's just below Dublin, Jim. It's about 40 minutes south of Dublin, so it's right on the east coast, mate. It's a beautiful little county. It's called the Garden County. So it's like just full of trees and mountains, and we love the outdoors. Me and my fiance have a big bulldog, so anytime I'm not at the desk, mate, I try to get out and just walk him, mate. So that's pretty much it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Jim, I think we have to make a UK trip.
I know.
I haven't. That's the next trip.
I was at Thought Bubble in 2018 or 2019. Was that the year that you were there, Danny? Because I was there and I had dinner with Will Dennis and Lee Bermejo.
Yeah, do you know what? It must have been, Jim. Yeah, it would have been 2018. It wasn't it? 2018.
Okay, and one of the distinct memories I had, man, is I got into town, and the day before I had dinner with Will and Lee, their infamous Batman issue came out where it showed Batman's penis.
Right.
That's it. Lee Bermejo was at the table actually, and he wasn't signing. People were coming up to him. He wasn't signing issues over because he was so kind of fed up with people were asking him to sign it. That's exactly the show. That's because I remember that now. Now that you bring it up, that's exactly the show, Jim. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's funny, mate.
It was funny, man. He was really like freaked out about it, and I was like, dude, why are you freaked out? You have the #1 selling comic book in the world right now, and everybody's talking about it. Like for good or worse. Like controversy, breeds attention. So it's like, I say just milk it and go with it. Draw a bunch of Batman dicks this weekend.
Yeah, Jim spent the weekend drawing bat dicks.
Do you know what, guys? Don't quote me on Lee not signing them. Actually, just in case I make a mistake, I don't want to make it sound like he didn't do anything that he didn't do. But I think that was the case. But I don't want to make it seem bad if he didn't do anything.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But no, that's the show. Yeah, that Harrogate's a beautiful place, isn't it, Jim?
Oh yes.
It's a lovely place, mate.
I had a great time, man, and that show, was kind of like a UK version of maybe Heroes Con, I guess, because it was just comics and art. Like there was
it. I actually got the same kind of vibe over at Baltimore. Actually, that's kind of a similar kind of feel to it. It was like that. That's what people were it kind of felt like that. Just comic book people,
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually, I didn't even, that's kind of, again, when I was just kind of learning almost what cons to go to and stuff. I actually slept on the airport floor actually over there because there was no hotels left. I just booked the flight with nothing to come back to, and I was like, I'll just sleep on the airport floor.
Oh shit.
I went over, just slept. I went into the show, like I got in there late. I was like, fuck, I have no hotel. There's nothing around. So just went back to the airport, slept on the floor, and went home and told my mum and dad that Lee Bermejo said I could draw comics.
That's dedication, kid. That's awesome. That's dedication.
They were like, wait a minute, didn't he draw Bruce Wayne's penis?
Exactly. My dad pulls out behind his back. Isn't this book you're talking about?
He's like, son, what kind of perverts are you hanging out with in this industry?
Exactly. I want to draw a Batman.
What?
Oh god, that's amazing.
By the way, guys, we just got a $5 super chat from Tyler saying Danny is a huge inspiration and the nicest guy. Thanks for the stream.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks a million, Tyler. Oh, that might be Tyler Lorenz. Actually, he went to the Cubert school. Actually, I've seen him the last couple of years at Comic Con. He's an amazing artist. So he is.
Oh, that's great.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
awesome.
Yeah. So that's a name in like 3 years we'll be talking about. He'll be on
Definitely.
the show, and he'll be like, "I remember I was watching the show."
Definitely, he came to me 2 years ago, and it's like I kind of feel a little bit out of place given any sort of portfolio review because I'm actually at Comic Con trying to go around to artists to still show mine, so it feels a little bit awkward for me to do it, to be honest. But I do my best. But Tyler's he's amazing. He's just such a lovely fella as well. So yeah, he's an amazing artist as well. So it's great.
That's
awesome.
Just in the chat saying that's
brilliant.
Brandon says Bruce Wang, I believe, is what.
There we go. There's the puns.
Brandon, I hope you were here when I showed off Surviving on Mars, buddy. It's I'm reading it right now. I'm gonna finish it tonight, and it's so great. And I'll just show it again. So there you go, Brandon. Brandon, I appreciate you sending me the $50 to promote this tonight. Thanks, buddy. I'm kidding.
Yeah, Brandon. When the PayPal clears, I'll get my copy and do the
yeah. So many good books out right now, man. So many good things.
Let's actually, you know what? I want to see what you guys are working on. Danny, Jamie, Jim. So you got a turtle.
Yes.
With a Hulk shirt on.
I got Raphael.
Jim, you really are adding a lot more graphic blacks to what you're doing.
Love it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm just,
I really see
shapes and
yeah.
So he's wearing like a 70s Hulk t-shirt.
So cool.
Love it.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Jim, you're using your typical arsenal, your parallel pens and
yes,
icons.
Parallel, whiteout pen, Copics. I'm gonna rock a little colored pencil, just to add some stuff, and that's sort of it. Maybe later I'd probably add some paint behind him, some washes.
Right.
Jim, is the parallel pen usually what you draw with, Jim?
Yeah, it's my go-to like ultimate tool of choice, man. It just I love it so much, and I've just gotten so used to having it be my main instrument that it's like just where my work comes from almost at this point. It's
so cool.
It's pretty crazy, but
I love it. I work in a sketchbook with that because it mixes with water really well, and it's an easy way to kind of get tones with the water and stuff. It's amazing.
Definitely. Do you have a preferred size that you use, Danny? You like the blue one or the green, or?
I use the orange one. Actually, Jim, I didn't.
The smaller one.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know they came in different sizes. Now did you say it? I had no idea, mate. I just refilled the orange one. I had it for like 7 years, mate.
Yes, yeah. No, I get it. I've messed around with the other sizes, but for some reason the green just became like my go-to, just out of habit, basically.
Right.
All right, let's see what Danny's up to. I'm dying to see this.
There we are.
Oh hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
So
and what are you? What tools are you using, Danny?
I try. Do you know what? Speaking of people that are like educated in art, they'd probably be sick looking at me drawing me because it's like I just do anything. But I start off with little Pentel, just like pens, Sean, and then I go into the Winsor Newton brush. I've had this brush made for the longest time. I actually wrote to you a while ago, Sean. I ordered those brushes that I wrote to you about a while ago, mate. So this thing has got now, like, it's dead, mate. It's got nothing. But it's one of those ones where I know how it works, even though it's been battered
Yeah.
and bruised. I know how it
Yeah.
actually takes the paper and stuff, so I'm quite comfortable
Yeah.
with it, mate. So then, I just use all these. These are just like store brushes from an art store down the road, mate. These are all the things I do my washes with. That's pretty much. It's super simple. I kind of keep it really simple. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it's the way to do it. Sean, do you buy expensive, nice paintbrushes? Because I don't really own any.
I do.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
This right here is a Raphael 8404 number 3. This brush right now is probably $25-$30.
Okay. But look at dude, look, your line work you're getting is
crazy.
But I'm using like it's like a dip parallel pen, like a lettering nib. I'm using that.
Nice.
And I'm using this, and that's what I'm getting.
That's beautiful.
Jesus, so cool. Wow.
That's just inky goodness, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love it.
Yeah, I would love to experiment with some various brushes and you know, I guess that's kind of like what where the sketchbook stuff comes in, and just play around, see what happens, you know.
Yeah, for me there's no substitute for the really good brush. There just isn't.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near as technical as you, Sean, to be fair. So there's not. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can probably get away with it, but I totally understand if someone like you and you're going in with that kind of precise line work, mate. It's Jesus, it's insane. I don't know if I had the patience for it. Definitely not the ability, but I don't know if I have the patience either, mate. To be fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the ability just comes from like you're like this is just my personality. Like I'm very methodic, I'm very controlled. It's just who I am, and I think when we as artists just embrace our personalities in our work, where it's the best way to go.
For sure.
You know, I don't look at my work like I love how controlled I am. I just look at it like I used to kind of fight it, and I have been really working to loosen up since I've been like doing the show with Jim, and I am loosening up. But even when I loosen up, it's like it's still very controlled. It's just me,
right?
So I think like if we just embrace who we are, we're gonna succeed on a much better level.
For sure.
That was funny, Sean. Last episode when we had Marty on, and he was like, "Oh wow, Sean, your inks are like super tight," and you were like, "This is actually my loose style."
It was. That was the rhino I did. Yeah, I thought that was loose.
And he was like, "Oh, okay," but you know, it's like whatever comes out. I mean, that's just
right. Exactly.
That's what you're doing. You know.
Exactly.
I seen you're doing something with Jake Parker, Sean. One of my first kind of the reason I kind of got into like actually inks, and like I said, I love John Paul Leon and how bold his line work is and stuff. It's like it's super kind of heavy and confident and thick. So I kind of try to do a little bit of that, but I got into Inktober like 10 years ago. I remember having a little tiny sketchbook. It was like that's kind of what got me into like really kind of trying to be disciplined, and I used a Pentel pocket brush, and that's what got me into like learning to try how to brush ink. And then I kind of figured out, well, like I didn't like the control of, you can't control the ink coming out of the bristles. So it was like, but getting into it was like trying to control that at the start was a really good way to try and learn how to use a brush. You know, it was
right.
Even though you can't control it, you have to try and control it. That was like, that was super interesting to me. So then kind of going down to the brushes. I'd love to try. I have those nibs you just used, their little lettering nibs. I just don't, there's something that's why I talk about Kevin Nolan's inks and stuff in the Mignola exhibit. I'm something about me being like a control freak where I like this kind of uniformity in a line. I don't like kind of having too much wobble unless it's in a building, like in architecture. Like when it's on, I like kind of having that same solid thickness in a line, you know. So it's tough for me to use profiles and stuff.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Dude, Kevin Nolan, how incredible is that guy? That guy's on his own planet with his level.
Yeah, he's like my favorite. Jim, I just saw of course he's going to be at Planet because he lives there, but I just saw they announced him today, so I'm super stoked to go.
He is like his Batman monsters in the closet, the black and white. It's like,
oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
That is
that
a
is
flawless. Oh my god,
that's like my favorite Batman comic ever. It's only 10 pages. It's like it's just absolutely.
It's my favorite
stunning.
short story. Yeah, it's my favorite short story ever. It's a masterclass.
It just captures Batman perfectly. But it's just like how he does everything. That's kind of there's something I'd love to do in the future. Is like maybe not in like a published comic yet because I'd be nowhere near confident enough, but just to do stark black and white. It's like Mort Cinder, like Alberto Breccia's Mort Cinder is like one of my favorite.
Oh
comics.
yes,
Like, the way he like it's like, oh my god, to
good.
try have that confidence into just the way you guys do it, just a stark black and white. It's like Jesus, that takes. I tried to hide some insufficiencies behind the ink wash, so like it works. But it's like to do that stark black and white is amazing.
Actually, let me grab that so that we can show the audience what we're talking about.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah. And Danny, yesterday I sat down with all my Sergio Topi art books and just we're looking through those. And speaking of like just insane line work and just lush, you know, that guy.
Insane. I tried to do like a sketchbook, Jim, like a sketchbook version of like a head. Do you know, like his values, he just creates these designs into values and stuff, but it's like mine just looked like I stood on it. It was like that is just garbage, just muddled garbage. Get that off the desk.
Yeah, I don't think because I've tried to replicate some Topi isms, and it's like he was just on his own thing, man. There's no.
But that's a hard thing to do. You just look like you're trying to be Topi when
there's no replicate.
Look, to be fair, I'm doing it right. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah.
Actually, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
All right, so guys, if you are not familiar with this beautiful book, Alberto Breccia, Mort Cinder. I mean, he did a bunch of books, but these were strips. But
just
so good.
Come on.
Look at this stuff.
That's where I learned to draw the razor blade. Actually, like, oh my god, it's insane.
Yeah, look at this face, man.
Just so good. Like the expressions.
Wow.
I know.
Look clear it reads.
It's so good. I gotta, dude. I love the chapters where he's in this prison.
Yes,
and how he did the stripes and the lighting, like
just incredible.
Oh my god! Just look at it. It's just such a sign of like how he blocks in shapes and it's like Mignola when someone knows the forms of a body and block. Like look at that. What?
Yeah.
The most fascinating part is what he leaves out. You know what I mean? It's like just so
yeah,
good.
Yeah. It's so good.
Oh
so
my god.
Yeah. So guys, pick up Mort Cinder
and his techniques. There's I'm trying to think of the artist's name now. I think he's an Italian artist. He's a young guy. It's not going to come to me. But he does all kind of techniques. He drew a DC history book, I think, just recently. Oh my god, why can't I remember his name? I always look at him. But anyway, he does all these like techniques that Breccia used to do, like putting ink on newspaper and stuff and trying to like get textures. That's what my sketchbooks are. Like, I try to just work in sketchbooks and just get textures for buildings and stuff, and any kind of like I use sponges, razors, like anything I can use just to get a different kind of texture. But this guy kind of shows how to do it and stuff, you know. And Breccia does a couple of videos online of him doing that sort of technique, and it's just out of this world. He just gets a crumpled piece of newspaper and puts it on the page, and it like becomes something. And it's like, all right, we're not all Mavericks. Let's just try to keep working with ink wash.
It's so crazy, man. Oh, and guys, if you don't know, here's some Topi, Sergio Topi. Just, I mean, look at these textures. This stuff is insane.
Dude, his design work, his like, oh my god, he's such a master designer.
Oh my god, man!
Just the skill set happening here with just ink, man, is.
It's just there's so many. Oh my god, look at the texture on those guys' outfits.
Yeah, oh my god,
man.
Yeah, I mean, just
this
is insane.
Next year,
really gorgeous.
I really just need to start. Like, Jim, do you remember being like 19 and 20 and just spending like so much time like investigating through the books and really breaking down what you thought was happening?
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while. Next year I'm gonna make a point to spend one day a week just really diving into some shit like that.
That's so cool.
I think that's a great idea. It's
Yeah.
It's why in my crazy new loft space that I live in, I have like my official library now where I can actually sit. I can sit and go through my collection and kind of,
which is exactly what I did with your Mike Zeck Artist Edition. I just all weekend I just poured through that. Oh, that
how crazy is that stuff, man?
That book is gorgeous, man.
Yeah,
those artist editions are just, oh my god, they're just such a wealth of knowledge, aren't they? I love just seeing mistakes on the page and stuff, and why someone done something and rubbed something out. Like just seeing the stuff up close, it's like seeing original art, like we talked about. It's so you get such a different feel for what they were doing and what kind of even tools and that they were doing.
Oh yeah,
totally.
It's amazing.
Totally. Do you own a bunch of those, Danny?
I do, Jim. Yeah, a whole load of them. I have.
Well, what's your favorite one, Danny?
Do you know what? It's two. My favorite, actually, it's pretty easy. Actually, it's Kevin Nolan. Do you know why? Because the Man-Thing story in it might be my favorite technical comic ever. The way he does like the watercolor and wash,
right?
And he has like, I was only talking to Nick Klein about this the other day, where he has a beautiful blend of graphic design where it's like the real kind of the way I love to do backgrounds, where it's really kind of probably not realistic, but like really moody and cool. But then he has like these little cartoon characters in it, just jumping around and having like the shapes or sound effects. It's like that's what the beauty of comics is for me. Where it's like I think Nick does it amazingly well, where he hand letters his own books and stuff, the sound effects, and he has like just beautiful shapes working through it. So definitely that one. But then John Paul Leon's is amazing because I just love. The Wintermen one is just like,
yeah.
I just kind of can't almost believe how confident he was in everything he done. It was just like it was almost like he didn't just think about it. I know he did, but he just didn't think about putting a certain line down. It was just like, that's there and it's staying there. He didn't deliberate over anything.
Right.
Mazzucchelli's was amazing actually because it has all the breakdowns and the thumbnails of Batman Year One. That's like that's sort of kind of behind the scenes process stuff.
I just got that one, man. I just got that like 2 weeks ago, the Year One.
I gotta get that one still.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I still gotta get that one.
I think actually I got Jim Lee's one. I have two of Jim Lee's, but it's like one of them is a DC one, I think. And you know what? Funnily enough, I think like when he inks his own stuff, and even later on, I think that like him and Scott Williams, I think they played with a little bit of like the toppy stuff, where like if you look at Hush and like Jim would kind of use the side of the pencil to shade in where the black goes, like Scott just lays it in black. But in later kind of pinups and covers and stuff, he'd actually go in and match Jim's kind of almost scratchiness in it, and kind of where it is laid in black, he would kind of put shapes in. I think it looks really cool actually.
Right.
It's awesome. The later kind of stuff,
Yeah, I need to check that one out. The was that the Marvel one or the DC one?
The DC one, DC one, Jim. Yeah, I actually got Michael Turner, actually his Batman Superman, and I heard a rumor that like someone else done the backgrounds for it, I think, but like there's a Gotham City at the opening page, and it's like, oh my god, it's just like it's like Jesus, man. It's like you think you're putting work in the backgrounds, you see that just kick you in the head. It's like you gotta pull your finger out here and get better. Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't have much of Michael's work. He did I remember Fathom really well, and then what was the other? He did a bunch of DC stuff, right? Like
he did. I actually don't have a ton myself. Actually, Jim, I only seen it from Richard Friend, one of Richard Friend's videos. He pulled it up, and I love like the studio guys like Jeffrey Catchin Jones and stuff. Like I love all those kind of books, and that kind of stemmed from Richard talking about those. It's like and then you kind of retrace the lineage of where they learned and stuff, you know. So seeing those kind of books up close from those guys, like, I didn't even talk about Bernie Wrightson tonight. Like, he's probably one of my favorite artists ever. I think he's everyone's favorite artist ever, but like Wrightson is just like insane. Nick was using his kind of lighting on the Hulk, and we had a chat about it.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
it's like just, and how Nick does it is just like, oh my god, it's insane. It's with like Wrightson didn't use a ton of wash. It was mostly like obviously pen work and stuff. The way he kind of captured it, but when he did use wash, there's a story. He has a story called Jennifer, and it's only like 4.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's like, a classic.
Like just
it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, really famous story. Like one of his more well-known, like short.
Yeah.
Man, when I was a kid and saw that Frankenstein shit, that was a game changer. Well, I mean, for everyone in the world,
dude,
but I saw it as a teenager and was like, "These are drawings that a human being made?"
Me too. Yeah.
Like, no, how is this even possible? Like, a human didn't make these drawings.
That's like, you know, what's funny, right? Actually, speaking of, this is the reason why I probably work with a brush now. When I came across them, I think everyone tries to replicate them, and I done it, and I was like, well, obviously I'll never be Wrightson. I think everyone comes to that realization, but I was like, that literally, I was like, I'm going to start working with a brush here. But actually, working with a brush like Sean, you're Batman. I talked about this with you. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, the knowledge and the information you guys give out is amazing. Like, I seen your Batman, Arkham Manor. It was called, Sean, right?
Yeah.
And it was like trying to figure out, because that was me. Just how long ago did that come out, Sean? That must have been 10 years ago at least, was it?
It was just about 10 years ago. Yeah.
And that was me trying to look at that and figure out what was going on technique wise. It was like, I had no idea comics were done with a brush. No, I didn't know how you use the brush, you know. So having then to be able to see you then tonight, if someone breaking in and coming up and say, to be able to see you working with a brush, it's like, oh, that's how he does that technique. I must have broke that down for 6 months straight trying to figure it out. I was like, this is the right pen? Is it this pen? Is it this pen? Is it this pencil? I was like, I couldn't figure it out.
That whole thing was brush. I used nothing but brush. Every building was brush. Everything was brush.
My God. See, that's like where I draw the line. It's like, oh my God, that is insane control and quality to be able to do that, and patience and just everything. It's just,
well, it comes from impatience, because I didn't want to put down my brush to pick up another tool, and then I didn't want to leave my brush sitting there with, like, I didn't want it to sit there with ink in it and dry, and I'd ruin the brush. So I just was like, all right, let me see if I can do it with a brush, and just was stubborn enough to figure it out.
That's amazing.
You could say that Sean was a crazy person.
I am a crazy person. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely say that.
Oh, it's so good. Actually, Nick's using all brush on the Hulk right now. He doesn't touch a pen either. Everything he does is brush.
Damn.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's just impressive, man. We are living in a new golden era, though, of just pure skills in the comic book industry. Like, the level of artistry that is happening right now, and the people that are good are so good that,
yes.
I mean, everyone calls the early 90s, like, that was the era of the superstar artist. But it's like, yeah, but the level of technical skills of what people are doing now,
the craftsmanship now is so good.
Right.
It's on another level, man, for sure.
No, definitely. That's why I just love. Like, I have nothing against digital art. People sometimes I'd say things that people kind of get it confused. I do, like Pepe Larraz draws digitally. Like, these amazing artists that draw digitally, but like there's just something about, I can never ever replicate anything that I try to digitally or traditionally digitally. I just can't do it, and I don't like. I like getting dirty. I like being tactile. I like kind of feeling the paper. I want to enjoy the process of it and not just have it be kind of just a job and deadline oriented.
Right.
Like,
yes.
You know? I want to still kind of feel a part of the process. And because anytime I finish a page, I've done like how many pages I've ever done this year. It's like, I've never been happy with one of them. So I may as well try to be happy while I'm doing it. You know, if I'm not happy with the final product, I might as well try to be happy while I'm doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it. Art's the journey, not the destination. Not the finished product.
It's funny, Danny, because Jamie, can I get the camera real quick? when you have been drawing all day and then you have that graphite all down your drawing. That's when you know, and then you go to like, wash your hands before you eat dinner or whatever. But it's like, that's when you know that you've put in the full day, is when you have like, the graphite and the ink. And Danny, this is what a real man's hands look like. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
These are real man's hands.
My dad's a carpenter, right? He has been for 40 years. I say to him all the time, look, show me your hands, Dad. His big manly hands. And I just came over to the paint on it. I mean, that's a man's hand right there, Dad. I got paint on my hand.
Yes.
I've actually got a terrible habit of I heard when I was breaking in, I got the brush cleaner and stuff that you actually use for your brushes, but I heard that actually, I don't know if it's right or I was led down the garden path, but like spit works good for like keeping your brushes like decent. I don't actually know if that's true or not. I have no idea.
Danny, I can drop some knowledge on you right now.
Sean knows the technical shit. Sean knows.
So I have a video on this that I sell about brush care, but
okay.
The brush soap you buy in an art store will kill your brushes.
Okay.
So like that General's brush soap and all that shit just dries them out to all hell, and they start to get brittle and they crack. So I use like really high quality organic shampoo.
Oh, wow.
Because it's hair. It's real hair. So you want to use a quality shampoo. But then after it's clean, I twirl the brush in my mouth and get spit all up in it, and it holds that point, and it forms like it's gross, but it forms like a hard shell that really cures the brush. So when you return to it, it's in a perfect like point with like a hard shell, and you got to break it up in the water. So,
I'm not losing my mind, but I've got a terrible habit of every time I put the brush down, I do it. So my mouth looks like, Jesus Christ, I look like I've gone to war with war paint on. When I come home to my fiance, I've got ink all over my lips. She's like, what are you doing? Is there any ink on your page up there at all? So I'm probably going to die of ink poison in about 10 years. But
I was going to say, you got to be careful with that shit.
It'll be worth it. It'll be all right.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
Yeah. That's a man who's dying for his craft right
there. That's brilliant.
It's crazy because when I was in college in the early 90s, mid 90s, they were starting to phase out with oil painting. They were introduced, the odorless, quote unquote non-toxic paint thinner was starting to come out because we were hearing stories of like legendary old school illustrators, guys that were just total badasses in like the 60s and 70s. They were cleaning their brushes with basically like all these super dangerous paint thinners and highly flammable toxins. And some of these guys were starting to, get sick from the actual exposure to these chemicals because they'd be dunking their brushes and the chemicals are splashing and getting on their hands. And it's like, dude, that's getting into your bloodstream.
People got cancer and Parkinson's from that shit.
Yeah.
So there's something about going digital then, right?
Well,
it'll never happen.
Not for me.
No, we die for our craft here.
For sure. I watched the video recently of, Soriyama, the artist. There's an amazing video on YouTube. It's like, I've watched it like a million times, but it's like 2 hours long of him doing a piece. And just like seeing, when I talk about like people knowing their craft, this is why like I love your guys' channel and stuff. When you just see someone, what I love about something is like everything in his studio he knows how to use. So it's like I just love the thought of that, being so knowledgeable of anything in there he's used or knows how to use it or uses it for something. And it's just like he even he put it on like a mask to like use spray paint and stuff. That's why I bring it up. But like it's nothing fancy, the studio. It's just this big old studio that he's lived in for years, that he does the most amazing work out of. And that's why I love comics. There's just something so kind of romantic about that to me, where it's like the room could be tiny, it could be in a broom closet, and you have your tools and you have your work, and that's kind of it. And it's kind of comes from your head more so than anything, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Dude, that's why I don't enjoy working digitally. Like it's just one tool. It just has all these different effects it can do. But like when you have like an art closet full of like shit, you can just be like earlier I was using this flat like in here. I've never really inked with this before. I just was setting up for the show. I was like, let me see what I can get with this.
Love it.
And it just takes you on a journey of trying something out. And I love that.
That's like anytime I go into like any shop, a hardware store or something, I'm like, oh, can I use that sponge for something? Can that? Do you know what I mean? I'm always on the lookout for something. Like, oh, what could that be used for? You know, it's so cool. Me mom is like she used to make like dresses. So she's a seamstress. I actually don't know where it is now. But I ink a little bit with palette knives actually when.
Nice.
When I'm doing certain textures, like in a background, because the board I use, it's actually funny. It's a Canson board, and it's super thick, but it's toothed paper. But I use the back of the board. It's actually funny. So the back of the board has tooth on it, but to take out my washes, it's pretty dense and heavy. But the front is way too toothy. Like I couldn't draw on that, so I actually use the back of the board. It's way smoother, but it still picks up. The grooves on the back pick up the ink, like whatever. It's like Bob Ross, you know what I mean? The canvas will take what it wants. So like when I use I use a palette knife, but my mom gave me this little I don't know where it is, but I like to use razor blades just in my sketchbook and stuff. But this thing is on a wheel. It's a razor blade, but it's on a wheel. So it's a
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was just like using that for like little. There was a page done recently with like little foliage and stuff, just like wheeling that around. It's just so much fun. Just being like, oh, that's cool. It can work or it can't work. Do you know what I mean? I might use it once in 10 years, but I'll still use it. You know.
Yeah. That's badass, man. That's great. So Danny, for your interior comics pages, you do a Canson, and what is it again? Is it a like a 300 or a 500?
It's a 300, Jim. Yeah, it's a mixed media 300, mate. Yeah, it's a little bit. I'm quite heavy-handed in everything I do. Me pencils and all as well. Like I just pencil on the board and ink straight on top of that. And it kind of leaves it's almost like some of the traces of my pencil stuff kind of come out into the printed comic, which I would love not to happen, but it's kind of part and parcel of it.
You know what, Danny? I used to fight that, but I embraced it. I love seeing that. I noticed it in your work too. I love that.
Yeah, I'm glad you do, Sean. Because there's something like I'm so heavy-handed, mate. Like Jesus, it's insane. Like I don't tend to work pencils too much. Like I just kind of do me roughs and then kind of can pencil pretty much straight from that. But if I do get something wrong, it's like a crater trying to erase out of it, you know. So I just like working on the same paper, you know, pencils, inks, and washes, you know.
Yes. So do you do layouts and penciling on a separate piece of paper and then light box to inks, or do you just directly layouts to that same board, inking on top of it?
Yeah, layout to the same board. Okay. Yeah, okay. I read the script and just I put me notes on the side of the script what I'm going to do. Maybe a couple of post-it notes. Sorry guys, I want to plug this laptop in here. Sorry, Jim, one sec. Sure. I'll put on a post note, and then I usually work in. I'll do me layouts digitally because I've already had them kind of on the scripts. I know what I'm doing, but mostly I do the layouts digitally because I put the tones in my layouts. So like when I go to the board, there's no real decision making in the tones. That's kind of important for me. Like I try to separate the background, middle ground, foreground digitally, so I know exactly where everything's going. I'll make changes on the fly and stuff for sure, but then actually traditionally working, I'll do the pencil layouts, pencils, and inks all on the board, you know, on the same board.
Nice.
Got it. Okay. So wow, the tones are in the layout.
Yeah, I do that, Jim. Okay. Yeah, like everything. So it's just try to.
I like that.
It's super simple. Then for me, it's like I have 3 different pots for washes, like kind of 30%, 50%, 70%, and just kind of.
I think Mateo does that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I heard Mateo talk about that. It's more time friendly, actually, to be fair. On the Hulk, I didn't do it as much actually because I only used that kind of reflective light source and stuff, the bounce light. I didn't have to go in with like a lot of gradients with the washes and stuff. I just put one tone in and it worked pretty well. But backgrounds and stuff, I could be working 4 or 5 passes on them, you know.
Damn. Okay. Nice. See, man, everybody's got their own thing that they do. Everybody's got their own little set of tricks and techniques. I like that.
Yeah.
That's why we do. One of the reasons we do the show is to get people's techniques and share their knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, we're creating an archive of like great fucking techniques and information.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool, man. How are we doing on time here, Sean? Should we?
We should probably wrap it up. It's almost 9. We've done 2 hours.
2-hour mark. It's like 4 a.m. for Danny. He's his family's pissed off at him.
Right.
The dog needs to be walked, and
yeah, exactly. Dog needs to be let out of the toilet, mate. That's all.
yeah.
Oh, it's been amazing, guys. Thanks so much for having me, fellas. It's been so cool. I love just chatting shop, and I don't tend to I can't really talk on the phone or even kind of listen to a ton of stuff or watch a ton of stuff when I work. I'm not good enough to give me concentration elsewhere, so I just work in silence a lot of the time. So it's nice to be able to get on and just chat and talk a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man.
I mean, dude, it was awesome to have you on.
Thank you for doing this. And Danny, before you leave, is there anything you want to plug or promote, or can you tell people where they can follow you?
Yeah, all my social media is just Danny Earls 16. Just pretty much just Twitter or X. I'm not on Blue Sky yet because I am on it, but I signed up with the wrong email address, so I'm an idiot. I have to fix it. I'm on there, but I just have to go back in and fix that. But it's just Danny Earls 16. I'm actually doing a story at the minute for DC, actually interiors for DC. I have a couple new covers not coming out, but nothing major, guys, that I can actually kind of say. So no one likes those kind of teasy stuff. So just
no,
yeah, to say, you know,
we respect that. We respect that.
But genuinely, just guys, it's such an honor to be on this show. I mean it when I say I'm a fan of you for so long. It's like I'm so excited. All my family,
dude, thank you.
I'm on Jim and Sean's show, and they were like, "All right," and I'm like, you don't know, fucking hell."
They're like, wait, that wasn't the guy that drew Bat Penis, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Keep that filth out of our home, Danny. Keep that filth away. But dude, we love your work, and I'm so glad
very much
we're getting to know each other, and we're all a crew. And come back anytime you want to hang out, draw, promote what you need to promote.
Absolutely.
This is a home for you. Anytime you want to chill, man, we're here.
Guys, thank you so much.
And I'll say, Danny, the fact that you got me drawing a long-haired Hulk is big.
Oh yeah.
Because I resist that at all costs.
And his
but
hair
I will say
you
and Nick make it look good, but to me the Hulk is always just don't make him handsome. Don't give him sexy long hair.
You can blame Nick for that. I'm not taking any credit for that, mate. That's brilliant. Listen, guys, if you ever come over this way as well, just let me know. And Dex here as well.
We definitely will.
For sure. Thanks, buddy.
Guys, thanks for the time. Genuinely, thank you.
Jazzy Jamie, thank you. And thank you to everybody for the super chats. Everyone in the chat, everyone in the States, have a fantastic Thanksgiving tomorrow, gorging yourself with various meats and foods. I don't know.
Oh, let me say one more thing when you're done, Jim. Go
okay. That was the end of my stupid rant. I'm done. I'm done.
So guys, if you subscribe to my newsletter, you'll get this info on Friday, and you'll also see a commercial Friday. But we were talking earlier about giving away information like art stuff. I have a 5-part video series I'm putting up on YouTube for free on figure drawing. So part 1 will drop on Friday, and I'm dropping a part every Friday through the holiday season.
Wow.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
I'm gonna sign
so
up for that.
Keep your eyes peeled on the Inkpulp channel.
Free info.
Thank you as well, mate. Thank you, Jamie, as well. Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks, Danny.
That's amazing.
Wait, hold on. What Cosner want to show? Cosner had a quick question. Want to show where Danny raced to see who can read Burns.
Oh shit. Cosner, what's up, dude?
Cosner in the house. What up?
I'll give
Cosner,
you, Danny.
Nice.
I left school when I was 16, Jamie. It's all you, mate.
All right. Well, happy
Danny,
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, Danny will let you go, and then Jamie and Sean, can you guys hang when we cut the stream? We can talk business for a second. Okay, cool.
You
guys.
All right. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you,
guys.
Danny, and thanks everybody. Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Peace.